Right, we're going to talk about factorising. From the previous podcast you may have watched, you probably know what to do to expand brackets. If you expand the brackets here, you do 2 times x, and you do 2 times positive 3, which is 6. So if you expand these brackets, you get 2x plus 6. Factorising is the opposite of that. So factorising, we don't start with that, we start with this. And what we do is we look for a common factor in both these two. So what goes into 2 and into 6? Well, 2 does, and we don't have x in common in both, so we bring 2 outside the brackets and we say 2 times what is 2x, 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times what is 6, well 2 times 3 is 6. And it's 2 times positive 3 because it's positive 6. Right, our first proper example. So we look at these two things, we're going to factorise them. We're looking for a factor of both 6x and 9. Well, the factor of 6 and 9 is 3, and there's no common factor to do with the x, so we take 3 outside. 3 times what is 6x? Well, 3 times 2x is 6x, and 3 times what is 9? 3 times 3 is 9, and it's positive, so 3 times positive 3 is positive 9. You can check by doing 3 times 2x, which is 6x, and 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, that's the first example.
5x plus 10.
So the next one is 5x plus 10. If you want to, pause now and have a go at it yourself. Now I'm going to show you how to do it. So what's in common here? What's a common factor in 5x and 10? Well, a common factor is 5. How many 5s go into 5x? Well, 5 times x is 5x, so that's the first part. And we take 5 as a factor of 10. 5 times 2 is 10. And again, you can check it. 5 times x and 5 times 2. Okay. What's the next one?
8 plus 4x.
8 plus 4x.
Yeah.
This one is given because sometimes if you see them all the same way round all the time with the x in front, when you see this you get confused. This is basically the same as what I've just shown you. What goes into 8 and goes into 4x? Well, 4 goes into both of them. 4 is a factor of 8. 4 times 2 is 8. And 4 is a factor of 4x. 4 times x is 4x. So 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times x is 4x. And they're added. Okay. Another one.
36 take away 18x.
36 take away 18x. You'll notice this is slightly different because it's got a take away sign in it. But again, same question. What goes into both of these two? What is a factor of 36 and 18? Well, this is where you can take out several different factors. You could take out a factor of 2. 2 goes into 36 and 2 goes into 18. How many 2's in 36? Well, 18. 2 18's are 36. And 2 9's are 18. So this could be 2 times 18 is 36. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18x. But that is not the best factorised version, because 2 is not the biggest number that goes into both of them. We could choose another number. We could choose 3. 3 goes into both. 3 goes into 36 12 times, and 3 goes into 18 6 times. But that's still not the biggest number. We could choose 9. 9 goes into 36 4 times, and into 18 2 times. But the biggest factor of this is 18. 18 can be brought outside the brackets because 18 times 2 is 36, and 18 times negative x is negative 18x. So watch, 18 times 2 is 36, 18 times negative x is negative 18x. So the answer, the best answer, is that with 18 taken out as the factor. Now we're moving into the slightly more difficult examples because we're looking at the letters as well as the numbers. Here, there isn't a factor of 3 and 2. There isn't a common factor apart from 1, but that won't make any difference. However, if you look, that's 3 times A, and that's 3 times A times B. So A is a factor of both of those. A times 3 is 3A, and A times 2B is 2ab. So watch, I'll expand it. A times 3, now I don't write A3, do I? I write A times 3 is 3a, and A times 2b is 2ab. Some of you will want to write A times 2b as either A, 2b or 2ba. None of those are wrong. We don't write that, though. Even though it's correct, we don't write it. You could write that and that would be fine too. So you might have the answer 3a plus 2ab, or you could have the answer 3a plus 2ba, and they are the same. Okay, another example.
10CD take away 15CF.
10CD take away 15
CF.
CF. Right, so here we're going to take out two things as factors, because we've got a factor of the number and of the letters. So factor of 10 and 15, well, the number 5 is the biggest factor that goes into those. 5 goes into 10 and 15. Now CD and CF, you'll notice C is a factor of both of those. So what we're going to do is say 5C times what is 10CD? Well, 5 times 2 is 10. If you times it by D, what you're going to end up with is 5 times 2 is 10 times C times D. I'll show you in a minute. Then take away 5 times what is 15? That's 3. 5 3s are 15. And C times F is CF. So I've got 5 times 2 is 10. C times D is CD. Take away 5 times 3 is 15. Times C times F. And you can see that's the same as the original question. So the answer is correct. Right, another one.
16AB take away 8A.
16AB take away 8A.
Yeah.
Okay, so another similar example to the last one. What is a factor of 16 and 8? Well, immediately you probably noticed that 2 is and 4 is, but the biggest one is 8. So 8 is brought out as a factor, but I've missed something up, haven't I? I've forgotten to look for the letters. So go back. A, B and A, what's a common factor? The common factor is A. So 8A times what is 16AB? Now I've written this, you might like to pause for a moment and write what you think goes in the brackets and then play it again. Here, 8A times what is 16AB? Well, 8 times 2 is 16, and A times B is AB. And take away 8 times what is 8? Well, that's 1. And A times 1 is A. So if I do 8A times negative 1, I get negative 8A. So my answer will be 8A times 2B, which is 16AB, and 8A times negative 1 is negative 8A. So that's my factorised answer. Okay. Another one.
24ABC plus 16CB.
24ABC plus 16
CB.
CB. Now you can see we're really going to town on these examples. A lot more complicated looking, but really no more difficult than the previous things you've seen. Let's first of all look for a number. What's the biggest number that goes into 16 and 24? Well, 2 does, 4 does, but the biggest number is 8, because 8 goes into 24 3 times and 16 twice. So I'm going to take 8 out as a factor, and here I've got A, B, C and C, B. So I haven't got an A in both, but I have got a B and a C. So I'm going to take out as a factor 8BC. Okay, so 8 times what is 24? Well, 3 8s are 24. And I've got BC, but I want ABC. So BC times A is ABC. And it's added, so I've got 8 times what is 16? That's 2. 8 times 2 is 16. And then I've got BC, well I've already got BC there, just the other way around, so that's fine. So I overshot a bit with my bracket there. Looks neater like that. If I want to check my answer, 3 8s are 24. BC times A is ABC. 8 times 2 is 16 times BC, 16BC. So it's correct. And just to point out that CB and BC, don't matter which way around you write them, they are the same. Okay, 7a squared plus 6a. We're moving on to the next stage now. This is for higher level students. Not doing the higher paper, but this is kind of harder than the previous ones. Let's look for something common. 7 and 6, do they have a common factor? Well, they have 1, but nothing else goes into 6 and 7, so I'm not going to take a factor out of there. But I can take a factor out of a squared and a. I'm going to write another layer in blue so you can see what I mean. This is 7 times a, because a times a is a squared, and this is 6a. Now if I wrote it like that, you can probably see that there is an a in common in both these, so I can take out a as a factor. A times what is 7a squared? Well, a times 7a. And a times what is 6a? Well, that's 6. So I'd have a times 7 times a, which is 7a squared, plus a times 6, which is 6a. This really is at the top end of the examples. There are slightly more complicated ones, but here you've got both number and letter factors. What goes into 10 and 25? Well, not 2, not 3, but 5 does. Any number bigger than 5, you have to think, well, 10 doesn't, so 5 is the common factor in 10 and 25. And what's the common factor in a squared and a? Well, from the previous example, you know that that is the same as a times a. So I can take out an a as a factor as well. So 5a times what is 10a squared? Or 5 times 2 is 10, and a times a is a squared. And 5 times what is 25? Or 5 5s are 25. And if I do 5a times 5, I'm going to get 25a. So that's correct. Again, I'll neaten that up. And just to check, 5a times 2a is 10a squared, and 5a times 5 is 25a. So this is the correct factorisation. And again, I'm going to use my blue pen to help you understand what I'm doing here. This is 30. B cubed is b times b times b. And this is 20b times b. I'm hoping that you can use that to understand what I do with the b's. First of all, what's common in 20 and 30? Well, the common factor there is 10. That's the biggest number that goes into both. Now, I've got b and another b there. And b times b is b squared. So I can take out b squared. 10b squared times what is 30b cubed? Well, 10 times 3 is 30. B squared times b is b cubed. Next one, 10 times what is 20? Well, that's 2. 10 times 2 is 20. And b squared is already there. So, if I expand it to check, 10 times 3 is 30. B squared times b is b cubed. 10 times 2 is 20. B squared, well, nothing to times that by, so it's just 20b squared. And so that is the correct factorisation. I'm going to point out one or two things to watch out for when you're doing factorisation questions. This is the first thing to worry about, and just have to be observant. You notice that I've got cb squared and c squared b. Now, it is very easy when you're looking at these questions to get muddled up and think that they are the same thing. But they are not. That is c, that is c squared, that is b squared, that is b. They are not the same. So, you must be very careful. And I'll go through the question and show you how to do it. What goes into 12 and 8? What's a factor of both those numbers? Well, 4 is the biggest number that goes into both. Now here, I've got c, b, b, c times b times b, and here I've got c times b. So, I've got a c in common, and I've got a b in common, so I can take c and b to factorise. So 4cb has got to become 12cb squared. So 4 times 3 is 12. C stays the same, and b times b is b squared. And then I'm going to take away 4 times 2 is 8. C times c gives me c squared, and the b stays the same. So let's just check it's right. I'm going to rub these out so you don't get confused. Right, let's do this very carefully. 4 times 3 is 12. B times B is B squared. 4 times 2 is 8. C times C is C squared. And B. And so you can see that when expanded gives me the right answer. This is the last mistake that I want you to watch out for. Make sure you don't do anything wrong when you see this kind of question. First of all, the thing I'm trying to point out is that a squared b is the same as b a squared, and not to worry about that. It's a times b, and this is b times a times a. So the answer for those will be the same as each other. So actually, this question wouldn't need factorising at all. So what you've got here is 4a squared b take away 16a squared b. So 4 take away 16 is negative 12a squared b. So actually the answer is just negative 12a squared b, and you don't need to factorise at all.